Hi, this is Clay Staires with the Leadership Initiative. Hey, we are now moving into, we've got this series that we've been working on here called Winning in the Workplace. We are now starting into our leadership level. This is the first session here at the leadership level. Remember, we go all the way back to talking about the worker mindset, the worker level. These are all the paradigms or the mindsets that we have at the different levels of thinking in every single company. We started out here with the worker mindset and how workers think. How does a great worker think? Next of all, we move to a team builder. If I'm a worker and I look at that organizational chart and I'm wanting to move up and expand and get promoted, what do I need to begin thinking? How do I need to begin changing the way that I think? So we talked about how to begin to incorporate into a strong worker mindset, how to now begin to start thinking about team building, how to draw people to you. And we spent several sessions talking about specific strategies on how to get people to actually draw near to you, how to begin with that influence. And then from there, we began to speak about, just in our last series, we began to talk quite a bit about the manager role and how a manager needs to be thinking. You guys, there are very different, each of these are very different ways of approaching the work of the day and how to look at other people, how to look at the work, how to get things done. They are very different ways of thinking. And now we're getting into the leadership mindset. Wow. Guys, there is so much to be said about leadership. I'm sure that if you've been to the bookstore, you can find book upon book upon book upon book about leadership. So I'm not trying to do an exhaustive training here on leadership, but definitely what I want to do is spend time sharing with you here at the Leadership Initiative how we have come to identify and define leadership and how we use that mindset of leadership to actually impact and influence work on a daily basis. So I'm excited about getting into this very first session as we are talking about leadership, and we're going to define today in this session your leadership expression. Because again, so many times, depending upon where we are, Clay, how do I lead as a worker? How do I lead as a team builder? How do I lead as a manager? So I want to begin to incorporate this mindset of leadership because it all does begin down here. But once we get to this level, if we're not careful, as we've talked quite a bit about, if we have a position as a leader, but we get pulled down into the mindset, or if we have a mindset of a worker, or it can be very, very difficult to actually get traction and feel like we are moving into this wonderful place called freedom. You can get money freedom by doing a ton of work, which is great, but you'll never find time freedom if you're in a leadership position and find yourself stuck in the mindset of a worker. So again, leadership is not just a position. Leadership is a mindset. Management, not just a position, it's a mindset. It's very important for us to understand how will we think about the position that we have. So here we go. First of all, I want to start out with just identifying, probably going back 15 years ago. My wife and I started a leadership training school, and it was kind of based around the concept of servant leadership. I'm sure you've heard of this before. But the idea that we began to talk about, first of all, I just want to talk about 4 principles that we started with, okay? Principles of leadership. It's what we'll call these principles of leadership. And our first principle here is to lead is to serve. You may have heard this before. To lead is to serve. If you want to be great as a leader, learn how to serve other people. I love the way Zig Ziglar puts it this way. He says that you can have anything you want in life if you will just help enough other people get what they want out of life. To lead is to serve. Now, here's the key. To lead is to serve. Number 2, leadership. Okay? Leadership. And I'll also say serving will be a struggle. Make no mistake. Leadership, serving other people will be a struggle. Oh my gosh, because the people, all right? So often, this was one of the things for me growing up as a young leader. I had talent, I had some skill, I had some knowledge, I had some personality that put me into several leadership positions. Unfortunately, I didn't have the mindset of a leader. I didn't have the character of a leader. And as a result, I found myself constantly in a leadership position being frustrated and angry with the people that I was trying to lead. Why don't you just do it? I don't understand it. Just do what I tell you to do. If you would just do what I'm telling you to do, everything would be fine, you know? But how to get people to do what you want them to do. You guys, leadership or serving other people will involve struggle. Now, here's the biggest struggle. The biggest struggle of a leader, the biggest struggle is having to lead when you don't want to serve. Don't want to serve. That's going to be your biggest struggle as a leader. When you have to lead, but you don't want to serve. Man, this is something right now. I've talked about my daughter, Claire, quite a bit, who's a senior in high school. She is trying to learn how to influence others and how to use that influence to move things forward. With Claire, so often she gets frustrated. Sounds familiar, all right? Sounds so familiar to when I was her age. But she gets so frustrated with people. They're all just stupid. Just forget it. And she gives up on them really quickly when they don't do what she wants them to do. And I constantly am telling her, Claire, you can't lead them if you don't love them. You know, because the deal is, however you picture them, however you see them, that's how you are going to lead them. If you see them as slaves, you're going to treat them like slaves. If you see them as soldiers, all right, there to follow orders, you will treat them that way. One of the things in this leadership training school that we did was try to impact and influence the leader's mindset is it possible for us to get to a place where we actually see the people that we are leading as sons and daughters? If you can see them that way, you will lead them that way. But if you see them in these other areas, you will treat them however you see them. So again, it comes back to that leadership mindset. To lead is to serve. Leadership will involve struggle. The biggest struggle that you'll have as a leader is having to lead when you don't want to serve people. You just want them to do it, you know? And if they don't do it, it just makes you mad. Now, the only solution or the way that we solve this issue of the biggest problem here, step number 4 is servant leadership. The only way to consistently overcome these struggles is to become a servant. This idea of servant leadership. Now, it's going to be very interesting because as we start talking about these different leadership roles, Clay, I get this idea of servant leadership, but how do I do that as a worker? How do I do servant leadership as a manager? We just spent 12 sessions talking about management and laying down boundaries, and here's how it's going to be, and we're going to do it this way every single time. It can seem confusing sometimes when we think about, well, if I'm a leader and I'm here to serve people, then what I need to do is think of them first. I need to think of what's best for them first. We're going to be getting into a little bit about this because that can be really confusing when we are trying to be a servant, but at the same time, we've got to get the job done. We have to fire somebody. How do you serve somebody and fire them at the same time? How does that fit? How does that equate? So we're going to spend some time as we walk through these sessions on leadership, talking about how these principles fit into each of the different levels, the mindsets in the workplace. So how do we serve? Is the idea here that you always have to put others in front of you? Well, you guys, your business as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, your company is here to serve you. The reason that your company exists is here to serve you. You have a future that you want to create. This vehicle called your company is in place to help you get to your future. It's the most important thing. But again, remember talking about Zig Ziglar. You can have anything you want in life if you will only help others get what they want in life. So we kind of shift this thing to a healthy business, to a healthy company. And again, the idea, if I'm just running around as a business owner going, are you getting everything you want? Are you getting everything you want? Are you getting everything you want? And never thinking of the company getting what it needs to move forward, you're going to find that your company is going to begin to tank. You're not going to be bringing in the money in the right amount of time, and things can go bad really quickly. So when we come into this, when we are talking about your company, we're talking about a much broader scope here than just individuals. We're talking about the company coming and serving others. But for the company to serve others, we have to have a healthy company, and we have to have healthy humans. All right? Healthy company, healthy humans makes for a healthy environment. So let's talk just for a moment about a healthy business. You've probably seen this before. A healthy business must have the combination of vision and, I'm going back to my science days, okay, I got the chart. We got vision and administration. There's got to be this healthy balance between the two, or else your company, your business will not be healthy. And if you have an unhealthy or a dysfunctional business, I promise you, you will attract